I want to be a college professor of the humanities.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let me lay it out for you, just so you don't make a mistake. Do you realize, if you get into a good school, this will mean spending close to a decade of your life in an affluent, beautiful town with incredibly high property taxes, and that while not paying these taxes yourself, you will still benefit from them?
Yes, but I'm not deterred.
Furthermore, do you realize that, if you attend a Ph.D. program in the American system, that you will likely be not paying tuition, but getting paid? If you include waived tuition, your stipend, health benefits, extraordinary research library privileges, etc., this means you'll be compensated a very reasonable amount to do something you love to do. Are you okay with that?
I am, and I'm still not deterred.
Do you understand, however, that getting a Ph.D. in the humanities, especially if you study something to do with European cultural history, means that you may have to travel often to Europe, and that such travel will likely be paid for?
Yes, it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
It will probably mean you will also have to not just travel to, but live in Europe for a year, and again, this will probably be paid for through a scholarship of some sort.
Again, I'm willing to take one for the team.
Do you realize that studying the humanities means that your young professional life will be devoted to doing the exact things that people who make millions retire early to do, that is, travel in Europe, and think about art and literature? The key difference, however, is that you will be doing it when you are much younger.
This I understand.
Perhaps you do. But let me give you some historical perspective. When he was in Paris, John Adams said the following: "I must study politics and war, that my sons may have liberty to study mathematics and philosophy." My sons ought to study mathematics and philosophy, natural history, naval architecture, commerce and agriculture, in order to give their children a right to study painting, poetry, music, architecture, tapestry, and porcelain. Do you realize, therefore, that the privilege of studying something like art history is, according to Adams, the result of the sacrifice and toil of generations, and that it is a high calling indeed?
I do.
Now, there may not be a lot of jobs in your field. But do you understand that the reason there are not a lot of jobs is because so many people have realized the very things we have just discussed? After all, these subjects used to be taught by very wealthy people for free, so naturally the chance to actually get paid to do them is in high demand.
I know there are not a lot of jobs, but last time I checked, it's tough all over. Folks who chose to grind it out in business school did not look so hot after 2008. Worst case scenario, I look back on some choice years of my life, when I got paid to do something I found inherently worthwhile.
Still, do you realize that being a graduate student in the humanities is one of the most ridiculously privileged positions a human being in this vale of tears could desire, and that even though this is the case, that some people, like the earthworm in a golden apple, nevertheless perpetually complain?
I understand, and I will admit, the constant academic griping is certainly a trial that has caused me to think twice about this career path. Much of the complaining is about teaching, and though I understand that the volume of teaching can be taxing, I genuinely enjoy teaching, so I have chosen to press on.
Finally, do you realize that the wave of postmodern theory has long crested, and that new ways of engaging literature and art are emerging? As a 21st century academic in the humanities, regurgitation of Foucault won't cut it. Fresh winds are called for. You will likely need to embrace art and literature with the same kind of love that brought you to it in the first place. That is to say, do you realize you will need to approach graduate study in the humanities as a version of the contemplative life, rooted to the very cathedral schools that gave graduate study rise in the first place?
Yes, that's why I'm doing this.
Okay. But beware animated videos that will try to deter you from study in the humanities, videos that are probably made by people who are hoping to limit the application pool to the places where they are planning to apply.
No worries. I'm immune to such videos, because I read Milliner.com, that's MILLINERD.com. Woohoo.